if we kind of want to move on to the top two seeds, I know we kind of already started talking about the Lakers or Clippers, but if we kind of want to get into Clippers Lakers, who do you guys think is the advantage? I know Archer, you just mentioned that you think the Clippers would win it all. Why would you say that?
I just think like Paul George is gonna. I think they're gonna light it up in the playoffs. They're too good not to. Plus Montrezl Harrell coming back is gonna give them another element. Like, and Lou Will. They have so much depth. Plus like Kawhi, I just think is slept. Like in the playoffs, he can really turn it on. So I mean, there's a reason they're my pick. I love LeBron and AD, but I don't know what they can do to stop him, especially with the weak backcourt.
Yeah, I would say that Paul George is definitely going to be kind of the deciding factor almost. I mean, last year in the playoffs, he didn't really show, but he also had the shoulder issue. I would say this year, it looks so far like he's moved past that. I mean, he shot incredible the first couple games in the bubble. Didn't watch the most recent ones, can't really speak on that. But the first 3 games they played were just
He doesn't look
incredible.
bad.
His shooting. And he's looked really good. He hasn't looked as good on the interior as he normally does, but I'm sure that'll come as he gets conditioned. Kawhi's kind of struggled from the field, but once again, guy I'm not worried about. I feel like he can shoot himself out of the slump. But between the Lakers and Clippers, I honestly do think it's going to come down to kind of who's got more grit. And I don't think LeBron's really been the guy to kind of have that grit. I feel like he's had guys on his team that have that grit for him. Whether it was like Dellavedova, Tristan Thompson, or even like Birdman or whatever. Just some guy with some grit just will go out there. And I feel like the Clippers
Grit.
got like 2 or 3 of those guys that'll kind of get under your skin. And I just don't know if LeBron has that chip up this year. I feel like Anthony Davis kind of lacks an edge, a personality.
Dude, you hate
Okay,
Anthony
come
Davis
on.
as a like
Let's
with his
take a step back.
personality. You're just like
well,
he's
it's
so
just like
bland.
he's
The
he's
man
just
rocks
not
a
chippy like these
unibrow.
other guys. He's just not chippy like these other guys. And I think that could really be a big factor in this.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, well,
yeah.
can we take a step back here? This is LeBron James that we're talking about. I've learned
Yeah.
over the years never count this man out in the playoffs. He kind of really turns. We haven't even. These aren't really playoff games. They just clinched
Yeah.
the 1 seed. They just got killed by the Thunder. Like the game just ended as we're recording this.
Did Thunder won?
'They
105.
definitely won.
But I mean, they clinched the 1 seed the other night. So I mean, that might be similar to what the Bucks did, but getting off track. But it's LeBron James. He's probably playing. Anthony Davis had like 42 and 12 in the game winner the other night. This is probably if we're thinking about it, this is probably the best player that LeBron James has ever played with. If we're talking about in his tenure with that player, I think Anthony Davis is probably number one. I just think that dude is gonna be too hard to shut down with. And then Kuzma's been playing well. Dion Waiters been
Kuzma's
playing.
been great.
Here's-
Watching Kuzma has been like impressive. His
I
everything.
watched a little bit of the game today, and he did not look very good. But I guess that's expected when he doesn't have those other guys in the lineup to kind of take some attention away.
And then for that grit, are we forgetting about Alex Caruso? Because I
Oh
think
my
he
God,
can
bro!
bring the grit.
Oh, not the bald eagle. All
I
right
don't think
now.
he's got the grit like the other guys do, though. Birdman's a
Hey,
different
we have
kind of
1 minute
grit.
left. Or
Okay,
less than
I don't
one.
I don't really think that's a big of a factor, especially if we're talking about LeBron. That's just me. I've got the Lakers over the Clippers.
Oh, okay. Respectable. Again, I think that the Clippers are the better team, but it is LeBron, so you never know.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
think if we look at it, so yeah, kind of got cut off there. But what I was saying about the Clippers, I do think when we look at their team, I think they have the better players overall. But when you look at the Lakers, you really just can't discount like the whole LeBron and Anthony Davis kind of two-headed monster with all their supporting cast too.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can really go either way and make a great argument for it. But that's just my decision.
All right.
You can't count either of these teams
Yeah,
out.
you really can't. I mean, I'm talking about the Clippers like they're the clear guys, but I mean, LeBron is LeBron James, and Anthony Davis has been playing incredibly. So we'll see what happens.
All right, and so if you want to head on over eastward,
Eastward.
I mean, honestly, TJ Warren, I guess, has been kind of cool to watch for the Pacers.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're going to win a game in the first round?
I
Maybe
mean,
one or two.
he's shown that he is a basketball player. I mean,
Yeah. No, but
That's
this is the interesting thing. Hold on. The Pacers play the Heat in the first round. if this happens, I mean, the Sixers could get the 5 seed. They're only a game behind the Pacers. But if everything stays as it is now, the Pacers are the 5 seed, the Heat are the 4 seed. I would say that is going to be, honestly, could be the most entertaining playoff series from the East in the first round.
You said Heat Pacers?
Heat Pacers, just because T.J. Warren and Jimmy Butler, they like wrote it down on their calendars and stuff.
Exactly. And
You're
TJ
Oh,
Warren's
really?
playing like the freaking
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't know that.
MVP
they
of
had
the
a
bubble.
big beef.
Dang.
Just
Oh.
depth perception. He's clearly been practicing for this his whole life.
But then I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Pacers haven't been playing with Brogdon, and then
No, they
Victor
haven't.
Oladipo
They
hasn't
haven't.
even been playing.
And Depot's been
Victor
sitting
Oladipo-
out half the games, and they're 4-0. So
Yep, they've been
They've looked-
playing so well.
They do.
Warren's looked good.
I used to call
They
them the
really
most
did.
average team, and now they might be slightly above average. Slightly.
Yeah.
Just maybe a little bit.
Well, when you got cash considerations
Yeah.
for TJ Warren playing like a god, like he's probably the MVP of the bubble so far.
Oh yeah, for
if we're being
sure.
honest, he had like
Hands down.
119 points through 3 games,
Damn.
lifting the
Insane.
Pacers. They're undefeated.
That's
So,
crazy. Yeah,
I think-
especially with the Pacers without their star. Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't
Hey,
have
he's a
Sabonis.
star.
They don't have
He's a
Sabonis.
star.
Yeah. They don't even have their all-star.
So the fact that he stepped up, and then they're gonna have Oladipo probably back for the playoffs, and then same with Brogdon. Sorry, that's definitely gonna be something to watch for sure. And then it also gives Miles Turner some more room to thrive, especially Sabonis up. So should be very very interesting.
Yeah.
But when we kind of talk about the East, obviously the Bucks are just up there, and I was wondering if y'all think really anyone else in the East could kind of.
I mean, I think the 3 teams really. I say Raptors right now are probably my favorites to beat the Bucks if I had to choose. Before I saw the Raptors like really click like they have been, it was the Celtics. But honestly, I don't know. It's close. I think the Raptors just have everything put together, and they play so well as a team. Like, it's so undervalued the way that they just click together. Van Vliet's always there. Like, no one player is trying to stick out like a sore thumb and play like an all. They're all playing incredible basketball.
Oh yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I think I'm taking the Raptors over the Bucks. Really,
I honestly agree with
that. I think, in my opinion, they've been the best team in the bubble so far. They're obviously. I think I've said this for so long, but they're my contender. I've always had them coming out of the East. They got the best defensive team in the bubble with their rotations and schemes. They beat the Lakers. You can get buckets from anybody pretty much on that team. Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, even Freddie dropped 36 on. I think it was on the Heat. And then there's, like I said, probably the deepest team in the league, if not the Clippers. But you really really cannot sleep on them. I think like I said, I think they're going to be the team coming out of the East again. Should be super fun to watch with all their depth.
Yeah, I'm really excited to watch them play.
I'm excited for the Nick Nurse revenge tour after not winning Coach of the Year, which was just baffling to me.
Well, that wasn't the actual Coach of the Year award, wasn't it? Wasn't that the one voted by the coaches?
It was.
I think it was. I mean, Woj was like, it's a co one this year. It's Budenholzer and Billy Donovan, which we can get into in a little bit.
Really.
But I would say Spoelstra you could argue for as well. But moving back onto the Raptors, I mean, this is a team that got like 30 from Lowry against the Lakers. He's undersized in that situation. Then Van Fleet, of course, put up 36 as well. This is just a team that is like heart over height, essentially. And they've done all of this without Siakam even really having a breakout moment yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're still waiting on Siakam to break out. And you've already got 2 guys that have scored 30 individually in 2 separate games. I'm just saying he hasn't had that breakout game. He's waiting on it for the playoffs, kind of. But this is a team that's looked just like great job working together. I mean, honestly, they don't really have anything to be playing for in these playing games. So I've been surprised with like the level of competitiveness they've been playing at. I would say one team that's looked very nonchalant, kind of opposite of the Raptors, but needs to win these games with the Sixers. I don't know necessarily talking about it right now, but they look very nonchalant, like they don't really care about the seeding. When I don't think you want to play the Celtics. I would much rather be playing. Well, I'd much rather play the Pacers, of course. That's also dependent on the Pacers moving up to the 4 seed.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, do the Sixers really want to play the Pacers? Like, I coming into the year, of course, The Sixers, I mean, they look like the favorite out of the East, other than the Bucks, honestly. But they've looked just slow, and for
Yeah.
some reason, it
Yeah,
just doesn't feel like they're competing in these
It's
games.
like the opposite of the
Sixers-
Raptors. They're not clicking together as a team. It doesn't feel like.
But they've got to
Yeah,
win these. The Raptors don't have to win theirs. That's the
Yeah.
thing, and they're still going 100%. And the Sixers just look so slow and just
yeah,
uncoordinated.
their whole team, their whole thing was the defense, and they just didn't really have the shooting. Obviously, I mean, Shake Milton, he had the game win against the Spurs, but that's the only game they've won. And it's the Spurs.
I think
too.
they beat the Wizards today. Actually, it's the
Oh, they did
Wizards.
beat
Like,
the
let's be
Wizards,
honest,
yeah.
is that really a game?
Is
Yeah,
that
if
But
you
they're-
thought that the Raptors didn't have anything to play for, the Wizards really have nothing to play for.
But they just, if you're only 2 wins so far, I mean, obviously they still have a lot more games to play. But the Spurs are the Wizards, and then their defense has just looked terrible. Like at least through the first couple games, like they gave 53 up to T.J. Warren. They weren't even doubling him. They have, I don't even know, man. It's just like Joel Embiid has looked good for him, but is that really like enough to like beat even a Pacers team? I was speaking
Yeah.
pretty highly about this team. Even though they got a soft stretch of the schedule coming up. But I was speaking pretty high on this team. They've really made me kind of reconsider because they've just not looked that good.
And I would say, I don't know if this is necessarily on the players. I'd say Brett Brown. I mean, the fact that you don't clue into the fact that a dude's about to get 50, I mean, how do you not double him or at least set up some sort of defensive scheme? I know that teams will set up like the trap thing against the Rockets to slow Harden down. I don't know why he can't seem to scheme stuff up. He just sticks with like this, everyone's going to play man. And then on offense, it just looks dysfunctional. I don't know if that's the lack of shooting. I mean, of course, Embiid's look great
Pretty
in
much
the
always looked
post,
like that, but yeah.
but I honestly think the Sixers have got to change something at the end of the season if nothing comes to fruition in the playoffs. They look slow. I mean, I don't know if that's a conditioning issue. Embiid's had some conditioning issues earlier in the season, but the team in general has not looked up to par, especially for a team that was at the beginning of the year looking to compete for, I mean, honestly, this 1, 2, 3 seed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm in Indiana, if I'm a Boston, if I'm any team that can really face them in the first round, I'm just not scared of them. As like they've really just not shown me anything. They've played worse than I thought. They've really actually they've just played worse. So I don't think any team like in the first round is really phased by the Sixers.
Yeah, and if this is having a lack of a home court, then something's wrong with the players.
Mm-hmm.
Home court should not define whether or
Yeah.
not
It shouldn't
you
have
like.
that incredible
Especially
impact
for a
that it's
veteran
having.
team. That makes sense for a
Yeah.
young team, but for a veteran team like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Al Horford on there, and he's even looked bad with them. I mean, it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like for some reason something's just wrong with the system the Sixers have going. And I don't think it's a chemistry issue because, I mean, obviously Matisse Thybulle's blogs
Oh.
and stuff, they're all hanging out. Shout
It's a
out to
preview
him.
for the edit coming out
But,
tomorrow. That's all I gotta say.
Oh,
just saying.
okay. But I'll say that I do think the one bright spot, Tobias Harris, hasn't looked terrible. I mean, he shot pretty well, but he's the
Yeah.
only guy. I mean, him and Embiid have looked good, but the whole team as a whole has just looked out of sorts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, I just wanted to add that this is not the Coach of the Year award. This is the NBCA's Coach of the Year award. So they're going to announce a different Coach of the Year award for the Red Auerbach Trophy during TNT's coverage of the 2020
Did I
NBA.
do some research? Okay.
So, just saying.
See ya.
You guys calling me out. Just saying. I had to
Yeah.
prove you wrong, but it's okay.
I
Everybody's
would've
wrong
known that.
sometimes.
When even is the award show gonna be?
I have
I'm
it's
pretty
probably the end of the
sure
year.
everything is based on before the
During
the bubble.
TNT's coverage of the 2020 playoffs. Yeah, it doesn't say when.
I think might still be up in the air, but I'm sure it's been reported. But
Honestly, like, I don't get the whole thing with award shows being after the playoffs. I think it should totally
I
be
don't
before. It just
Yeah.
I feel like it's impossible to not influence the choices when you see Giannis drop 50 for an
Well, they
entire
put the
series.
choices in before.
Oh, do
I
they?
mean, it's not like they put them in. Yeah, why would they put them in after the playoffs?
I don't know.
Like,
They
then
announced
it's
it
like,
after the playoffs.
But I would say, I mean, it would be super beneficial. I mean, just think about, Brandon Ingram going into that 8 seed, just the momentum he would have after that most improved win.
Yeah, he would really be patting himself on the shoulder. That would give him the boost he needs.
honestly,
Although,
I think I like the Pelicans against any of the going back to that, but I kind of like the Pelicans against any of the eight seeds because they've owned the Grizzlies and they've owned the Blazers.
We own the Blazers for the last like 3 years. We own them,
all 3 years of glory.
bro.
Yeah,
It's too easy.
Drew does clamp up, though, I have to say.
Like I said, just wait till we're healthy. Just wait till we're healthy.
I just wish the Pels had another game on the Blazers on the schedule. We already played them 4 times this year, and we're 4-0. So
yeah.
I mean,
Well, Beach, like you
can't
said
win them all.
earlier, it's like these were kind of supposed to be throwaway seasons for you guys, and you guys are competing for a playoff spot. So honestly, I'd take away with what you have and be happy for the future.
Just a learning experience.
Yeah. I think this is super good for like Jaren. Obviously, Jaren's injured, but like Brandon Clark. This is a really good time for them to be able to grow. They don't necessarily have to play incredibly. They can just learn what it's like to be in this position.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say a lot of teams are kind of in that position, but I would say the Pelicans uniquely are situated for this, as they've kind of throughout the year kind of seen what winning is with guys that are veterans on the team, whereas the Grizzlies haven't really had that. So I feel like the Pelicans going into the year were kind of expecting playoffs. Of course, me as a fan, I expected us the last seed because
y'all were supposed to.
Well, yeah, you guys also had the easy
projected
schedule at the
playoffs.
end, so like you guys were probably going to make it anyway.
I mean, and we were healthy towards the end of the year. Of course, we can't predict the future, but or
the whole
this
Zion
alternate
stuff
timeline
kind of screwed you guys a little bit. I have to
Yeah,
say.
but even then, it's like we played really well towards the end of the year without Zion. I think we were like 13-4.
Well, it's not
before he
that.
came
It's
back.
it's just the conditioning stuff because you guys have lost games.
Oh
because
yeah.
of
We
Zion
lost
being
2
injured.
games because of his unconditioned body.
And that's not necessarily his fault either. Like he had something to do. So
he wasn't taking a vacation, kind of like Lou Williams.
he was.
Lou Williams might have had some. He said Lou Williams had like a family matter.
No, Zion.
Zion. He had like a family issue. No one knows really why, but family issue. So I mean.
All right. Well, I mean, if that's all we got to talk about, I guess that's it. We will talk to you guys in the next podcast. Thank you so much for watching it.
Peace.